usability of it. We talked about the different transmits mode. And then the actual software, the billing software. Our favorite is what we call Logic Software Suite, and it is the database. It's got the interface to the thing. It's a Logic analytic software. This is what the billing information people or anybody that has a web browser can come in and look at the interface. They'd log in. There's rules, logins, and responsibilities, admins, and CSR roles, and so forth. Security there. And this is going right in against the database. You'll see all those meter events up on the left, the summary of the meter events, all the leaks and stuff. And if you can see on the top there, you can download that with an Excel, in a PDF. You can also schedule that to be emailed. This is where we talk about this report can be emailed to anybody, anytime, whatever schedule that you want. So all those leaks, all those detections will be there. Okay. You get a summary of the register reads, the actual reads, how many we're picking up on a regular basis, and then the map itself shows all the locations of all the meters. And I think the next one shows, I'll cover this in the next one. So if a meter can't be read or if there's a leak, they're different colors to set up on those maps. Okay. Navigation screen on the left, what we call the content page. And we can do a little bit more, but it makes sense of all the data. You got all this data. You got hourly data, all the register reads, all the locations. It's integrated into your billing system, BSNA. And so what this interface does for us is make that usable data for you, right? And it's all predefined. All the users have touched the data whatever way they want to do it. It has availability to create virtual meters. So if you had a housing complex, you had a large 8 or 10-inch meter feeding a complex of houses, you can calculate the usage from the 1 meter and all those other ones. So we call it a virtual meter, right? So we can do groups and so forth. And interface into the billing system. BSNA, we've done a lot of BSNA systems. It's a file system. We work with you, figure out what format your billing system generates to us, and we've done a bunch of them already. Okay. Quick overview. The product, Logic Solution Overview. We talked about the operating system. It runs on a Windows or a Linux standard operating system. Database is either Oracle or SQL. We run on Dell servers, Dell hardware in our data centers. It's all industry standard. And then we talked about add-on modules, that Customer Connect or Customer Portal. A rules engine if you wanted to connect to a work order system, that's available. And then third-party interfaces to connect to anything and everything. Because it's a database, we can have all those interfaces are open and we can work with you whatever you wanted to connect to. Again, permits customer user roles and permissions, all the interface. We can export the data. If anybody wants to see, I can do a live demonstration of this product also, but that's a quick overview. 40 standard reports, and then you can write your own custom reports as needed. About communications, all those unknown meters and unreads, all those reports are standard as part of the product. We offer support and training. First level support would be through Aetna, then you also have a support contract on all the hardware. Census has about 25 technical support people, 8 to 8, taking phone calls live. If you can't get a hold of that, there's first line of support, but then come to us. For support, there'll be a full couple days of training between Aetna, and then we actually bring in a trainer here to work with the system for a couple days to do that. Okay. Kind of the deployment, you award the notification, we go through the planning process, the towers go up. The network deployment happens. RNI deployment is the regional network interface. That's connecting to our data center. We set that up. We work with you. Aetna and I, an IT group would do that. We do installer training of the meters and how to program them, how to program the smart points, how to program read the base stations and the towers. And then we go through a full, there's actually a 2-day optimization and acceptance test done between Aetna and Census. Sends out on-site people come here and do an acceptance test and walk through with you to make sure that it's doing what it said it was going to do. So we do that before we sign off on the system. The timeline in this really depends on how everybody works together. A typical software project, there's lots of things. Towers have to go up, servers have to get installed, training has to happen. It could be as quick as a couple months, it could be as long as 6 or 8 months. Depends on how everybody works together what kind of schedule you want. And it has a lot of people, Census has plenty of people to do all this. We bring in subcontractors if needed. We kind of work with your timeline. We talked about training, instructor-led, they're online. The trainer comes here, you can bring as many people you want into the room. Hands-on training is available, and then also online training for follow-up. Last part is the managed services. This is our cloud service, or we was talking about in the data center. So the 2 data centers, there are currently 350 customers in our data center. About 70 were added. Actually, it's probably a little higher than that right now. Were added last year alone to the system. Again, the production environment, test environment of both the network interface and that logic software are hosted at both locations mirrored. There's test environments for both replication and disaster recovery, fault tolerance. We monitor. The data center itself has its own monitoring. If the server could go down, the hard drive crashes, you lose a power supply, all that, the data center is notified, and there's a backup system in place. Probably within 24 hours, you're back up and running, or not faster. We have not. The data center has not had an outage because it's a SAS 70 bank-rated data center. It's required for a service level agreement of 99.9% uptime, and we have not failed that certification. Hosting benefits. Technology has moved from everybody having their own data centers or their own technology servers in-house to the hosted. Better resource, better capital. There's an annual, monthly fee. I don't know what Census is, whatever the contract is, for payment. Access to all those servers all the time. So you have no capital expense, right? Just the initial implementation fee. And then you leverage both the Census has full-time people at the data centers. And it's a SAS 70, which is a banking, world-class banking data center. So the banks are also in those data centers, those same data centers. Upgrades, what happens, the big advantage is upgrades, patches, software always needs a patch or a new feature or a function. We find something, all those come automatically with the system. As we come out with a new feature or function, we get those upgrades. We do a monthly, like Windows update, stuff like that. We do a monthly, we notify you when those are happening. They usually happen after hours. Instead, we give you a week's notice, something like that. And if you don't want to do it that day, you bring your building, that's fine. We'll just hold off on installing that patch. So we don't install anything without notifying you. And then all the upgrades and patches get done for you. Whether if you had it yourself, your IT group would have to do all that. So what I have, I don't know if Bill or Tim had anything more to add, but that's just a quick overview of the problem.
Could you go back to the implementation screen?
Yes.
And I'll jump back in here if you guys are good. Just want to introduce Jason Bingy. He's another one of my water sewer commissioners. So we do have four of them here. And this is what was taken out to bid. So I'm going to, you guys haven't seen it yet, but this is what will be coming forward for consideration by the council. What was taken out to bid was a program where the Census and Aetna would bring a team in to replace all the large commercial water meters in the city, which is about 1,105, basically 1.5 inches or bigger, up to 10 inches. And some of those meters, 10 inch could cost $25,000. So in this proposal that we're considering, or will be considering, what we'll be getting is replacing all of the readers, or the
Smart points.
The smart points, yes. I call them MXUs based on...
There's lots of names for them.
Yeah, but smart points. So we're replacing all the smart points on every meter in the city. So every meter could be read through the cellular tower system. So all those are included in this proposal, and then replacing all of the larger commercial meters. Because what's happened is most of our meters in the city haven't been replaced since they were installed 5, 10, 20 years ago. And some of them are 10-inch meters, 6-inch, 8-inch, and you know, in that period of time they lose their accuracy. At some point, some meters even lose up to 30%. And so that's billing revenue that we're not capitalizing on just because our meters are old and they're having to replace. So as part of this system, we would replace all the readers or the endpoints and the large commercial meters. That would leave about 20,000 residential meters. Some would need to be replaced sooner than others because we do replace as we go. Like this winter, we replaced a number of them because they froze. So this this proposal, again, is for the commercial meters, all of them in the city. The reading system so we can get everything read, and all the labor to install those things within a period of 6 months. So we would get the system up within 6 months.
Yes.
So my understanding then is that the residential meters would just be replaced continually as needed, and there would never be an initiative to just replace them all.
Well, my plan would be to implement a residential replacement program as well. It just wouldn't be associated with this proposal. So it would be something that we would do through the water department and our customer service representatives. And my proposal, looking at the numbers and the amount that workers could switch out, was looking at about a 4-year switch out, because a number of them have already been switched out. So our numbers.
Some residents have these new meters, just not the smart points that.
Correct.